Markets continued their winning streak for a sixth day now. The fag end of buying lifting benchmarks, with markets closing at a 3-month high. Sensex at 58,351, up 200 points. Nifty shutting shop just a little shy of 17,400. The Nifty IT pack dazzled in trade today. Tech Mahindra, TCS, Infi, and along with them, Titan and Asian Paints, some of the top blue chip gainers. On the other hand, after a stellar rally yesterday, Zomato was under pressure once again today, declining around 10% intraday, but ending off the day's lows. This after reports suggested that Uber has sold its entire 7.8% stake in the company. Bharat Forge also slipped over 3% in trade as North American Class 8 truck orders, a key measure in the trucking industry, registered a sharp fall. Meanwhile, Asian markets for the most part shrugged off the US-China escalation and ended in the green. Nikkei and Hong Kong closed with gains, but Shanghai closed in the red. After hitting a 1-month high, the rupee today snapped a 4-day winning streak as worries over the country's widening trade deficit weighed on the currency. There are fears that the face-off between China and the US over Taiwan could spell more trouble for the Indian industry, which has been battling a semiconductor shortage for the past 2 years.
Just as the Indian auto industry was emerging from its worst slowdown ever, there are fears the semiconductor supply crisis could return. These images of the latest and most potent weapons in the arsenals of China and the US have rattled the world these past 2 days, with the industry dreading the prospect of China throttling the supplies of semiconductors from Taiwan. Last year, Taiwan controlled 63% of the world's semiconductor supplies. South Korea, with companies like Samsung, had 18% of the market, while China had a 7% market share. US and other countries had the remaining 15%. Simply put, the world is dangerously dependent on Taiwan for its chip supplies. The great chip shortage of 2021 startled the industry and the world, which rudely woke up to the fact that their most critical high-tech components were at the mercy of foreign nations. This was what tech major IBM said in a white paper in March 2021. You never want to be in a spot where another nation can control a valuable resource that your nation depends on. The US, wary of the global tilt, passed a mega $280 billion CHIPS Act, which received rare bipartisan support in both houses of the Congress. India, which announced its $10 billion semiconductor policy last December, has only taken some baby steps in the area. The country still imports 100% of its chip supplies.
भारत चिप टेकर से चिप मेकर बनना चाहता है। सेमीकंडक्टर्स का उत्पादन बढ़ाने के लिए भारत में तेजी से निवेश बढ़ रहा है। यानी मेक इन इंडिया की शक्ति और डिजिटल इंडिया की ताकत की डबल डोज भारत में इंडस्ट्री 4.0 को नई ऊंचाई पर ले जाने वाली है।
However, most of India's chip imports are from China and not Taiwan. Ministry of Commerce data shows India imported over $8 billion of digitally integrated circuits alone in 2021-22, of which China accounted for over 50% of supplies, a rise of 106% on year. This was followed by Hong Kong at around $1.85 billion. Singapore took third place, supplying chips worth $547 million, while Taiwan came fourth with supplies worth $470 million. Meanwhile, at least 2 international consortiums have expressed interest in investing in the semiconductor industry in India, with Karnataka, Gujarat, Maharashtra aggressively wooing the technology. While India may not be in the fab picture at present, one of the big advantages it enjoys is its strength in chip design. Nearly 20% of the world's design engineers are Indians, and most are employed by foreign companies in India. Bureau Report, Business Today Television.